how to cut any video super fast with Smart Media Cutter. You come here to smartmediacutter.com, you click download for free, you get it here for your operating system. Then in the app, once you have it loaded up, you have many ways to select what kind of cuts you would like to make. But for example, if your playhead is in the correct spot, you can click here in the quick tools. So I can come here, I can quickly remove everything before the playhead position. So this here seems to be the first frame of the credits. I can cut everything after playhead and now the whole credits are gone, or I could go a little bit before. Now I have just the actual movie here. So when I go to export, in the top right, choose export. I can choose either between the Smart Cut and the full recode. And with the full recode, it's gonna do a full transcoding of the whole movie. So this is HEVC, it's quite slow to transcode. So you see, it's gonna take a while, it's using my CPU. We don't want that. So I'm instead gonna choose the Smart Cut, which is gonna preserve the original quality and only recodes around the cut points. So when I click export with this, it's gonna take like a second. I cannot even finish my sentence before it's already done. And here in the export statistics, it says that it remuxed 11,000 packets and it recoded 12 frames. So that's acceptable. We hardly recoded anything, but let's say you really cared about this and you wanted to get it down to only remuxing. Well, for that we have tools here in the segment list where it shows your current cuts and your current kept segments. It shows here that our 12 frames consist of 5 frames that had to be recoded at the start and 7 frames that had to be recoded at the end. And if I zoom here to the beginning, you can see each one of these little segments between the ticks is a single frame once you zoom in close enough. And this one here is a keyframe. And you can always start a remuxing from a keyframe. So for example, if I drag now, I click and drag this cut segment, I pull it up to the keyframe. Now we can see that the kept segment starts with a keyframe. And here in the top right corner, it even shows you that this kept segment in the beginning, it's going to recode 0 frames. And also here in this frame strip where it shows multiple of the surrounding frames, here it shows you that this current frame is a keyframe and it is a remux start point. So now the beginning is fine, but if we want to fully get rid of the recoding, we also have to treat the end. And I can also right click on this 7 frames in the end and it's gonna center those recoded frames. And here at the end, you can see that my last frame is not marked as remux endpoint. So this next following frame is marked as remux endpoint. So if I included that one, we would completely get rid of our recoding. So now we would be at 0. And if I went to export and clicked here, it would show that we recoded 0 frames. I could also do the same thing by bringing it up to the left. I could bring it up to this B frame here, which is marked as a remux endpoint, save remux endpoint. Now it would also not recode anything. But while my cut point is somewhere here in the middle, it's going to show here that we're going to recode a couple frames. Of course, for the most part, it's not the end of the world if you're going to recode some frames. The smart cutting will handle that just fine, and it's only going to take a couple seconds. But just in case you really care about not having to recode, for example, preserving the original quality of the video, you may choose to bring this cut endpoint either over here to this remux endpoint or over here, including this keyframe, so that the remuxing can safely end here. So if you know a thing or two about video codecs, you might be confused as to why we have to include this iframe here. That is because this video has something called OpenGOP structure. And to illustrate this a bit better, I can come here into the Bitstream tab, where it is going to show me a visual representation of all the data in the video. So these tall red bars are the iframes, and the green things are B frames, and the purple ones are the razzle frames. And if I zoom here close to the beginning of the credits, and I click here on display refs, it is going to show me a visual representation of which different frames are required for the correct interframe prediction of each of the frames. So over here, for example, it shows that this frame, to correctly show it, you need to have all of these pointed frames decoded first. And of course, in this case, it seems quite silly that the encoder has chosen to reference this iframe that follows, because this is all black and completely useless for any sort of prediction. However, that is how the Bitstream happens to be done. And we cannot really change that without changing the whole bitstream. So here in this case, if you want to completely get rid of recoding, your only options are either you have to include this iframe or you have to get rid of all of these razzle frames. So for example, if I come here and I drag this B-frame I'm on right now is exactly the last of the razzle frames. So removing all of those means that now we can safely end our remuxing. So this is the huge issue that open GOP structures cause on trying to cut videos losslessly. And also the reason why you need tools like Smart Media Cutter that does the proper smart cutting that can handle also open cop structures. And of course, you can repeat this process if you come here in the center of the film and you choose to, for example, delete a scene here in the middle. You can just select it, you can delete it, and then it's going to tell you that, oh, 16 frames at the beginning would be recoded. So you can go look at the cut points, see if it makes sense to recode less, recode more, depending on how the content looks, what you actually need. But the point is that you have the power to choose where the cut point should be exactly with frame accuracy, and when necessary, whatever has to be recoded will be recoded. So now when I go to export, even though it has 2 segments, it's still gonna only record 18 frames, it takes a couple seconds, and for the rest, for the 9,500 packets that are completely remuxed, the quality will be exactly preserved as it was. And for those 18 frames, if you care about the quality, you can come here to the encoder settings and you can choose higher or lower presets. You can also choose higher or lower encoder speeds and all that good stuff. Thank you for watching and I hope you enjoy the editor.